Good morning and congratulations. We are here to celebrate an important groundbreaking milestone of the iTV-3 fiber to the home network, and it's wonderful to be here today. We have both mayors and a bunch of community leaders who are going to make some remarks. And first, I just want to welcome you. This is a really big celebration for our community. We're celebrating this groundbreaking of the fiber to the home service, bringing gigabit internet plus TV and phone service to neighborhoods here in Champaign-Urbana, starting right here with this neighborhood. And we are standing in front of this home here of Jenny and Bruce. Jenny, do you want to wave your hand real quick? Okay, here's Jenny Putman, who lives here, and Bruce, and they are hundreds of the CU households who signed up for service back with UC2B and made a pledge that they would sign up for gigabit fiber optic internet and that they wanted their neighborhood to have some of the fastest internet in the world. And so today's celebration is in part for Jenny and Bruce and all those other people like them who were patient, and it worked. So give yourselves a round of applause. All of those pledges and sign-ups were really critical to proving that Champaign-Urbana is serious about wanting fiber optic internet. When UC2B was talking with private providers who could expand fiber to the home in the community, those pledges helped prove that we really wanted it, that this community would put their money where their mouth is. And when UC2B chose iTV-3 as our private partner to operate and grow the network, iTV-3 looked around Champaign-Urbana and saw the hotspots of where those pledges were and decided that's where they would send their door-to-door staff and bring this service first. So thanks to Jenny and to Bruce for having faith in the Champaign-Urbana community, for their patience for today's big milestone. They were patient while UC2B worked on getting its construction done and evaluated private partners, and they were patient while iTV-3 upgraded the core of the network. And now today, we're at a huge milestone. And I know it feels like it's been a long time coming. We all have wanted this to come fast. But Champaign-Urbana is way ahead of its peers. There are just a few other cities in the whole country that have fiber optic, fiber to the home, gigabit internet. A few like Chattanooga and Kansas City and us. We are way ahead of all the other Big Ten towns, ahead of the micro-urban communities our size. We're even ahead of Silicon Valley and Seattle that don't have services like this, right here, yeah, in this neighborhood. And why? Because people like Jenny and Bruce and all of you that believed so much that Champaign-Urbana could have the fastest internet in the world. And after this, after all, we invented the world's first web browser right here in this community, right? Yeah. Yay. And our researchers invented the LED that sends, pulses of light down fiber optic lines. Yeah. And our graduates invented PayPal and all kinds of other tech innovations. So thanks for believing in this community, to Jenny and Bruce and everyone who wanted to bring fiber to the home here, and now it worked. I'll say one other thing. You might have heard some other news. Other broadband providers are bringing wireless to our downtowns, or the cable company is increasing their speeds, and those are great improvements. Those are a benefit to consumers. That wouldn't have happened without UC2B putting some pressure and pushing the competition and pushing us all to be faster and better. But let's be clear, all of that is not any comparison to iTV-3 or true fiber to the home. And so you probably know, but let me just explain. Fiber optics to your home or business means that you're not sharing bandwidth with your neighbors like you are on cable or on a wireless provider where you're competing with your neighbors to get internet. Fiber optics is cutting-edge internet technology. It's light that goes in pulses over little strands of glass in the ground, and it offers magnitudes more speed and capacity. It's what Europe and Asia have invested in because it's critical infrastructure for the future, and it changes the game. The old technologies have bandwidth as a scarce resource where you're competing with your neighbors and the other people to get a signal. But in the fiber optic world, bandwidth is an abundant resource that's unleashing new educational opportunities, breakthroughs in telemedicine and new technology and new businesses and startups and jobs. And so iTV-3 is now, with this groundbreaking and the start of construction, building this sort of next generation infrastructure here in our community, starting right here in this neighborhood, at Jenny and Bruce's neighborhood, and they aren't stopping here. The whole community gets to decide what neighborhoods in Champaign-Urbana get connected next. Anyone can sign up at the website theperfectupgrade.com, and the community decides where the construction crews go next and what neighborhood is next in line for this world-class internet. So our goal at UC2B continues to be a gigabit connected community for everyone, where this kind of fiber optic service is available to any home and any business with nobody left behind. And today's start to this gigabit fiber to the home construction is a huge milestone. So one more round of applause for people like Jenny and Bruce in our community. So we're going to hear briefly from our mayors and some other community leaders about the importance of this and the impact of it. First, I'd like to introduce Levi Dinkla. Levi, okay, here's Levi. He is the vice president of iTV-3 and has been just totally instrumental from the start at helping build this partnership and lead this project and helping us get next generation infrastructure right here in Champaign-Urbana. So Levi Dinkla, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. I'd like to thank both mayors, Mayor Pressing and Mayor Finan, for being here today. John Gant for representing the university. Mike Smeltzer, who may be behind me, are taking pictures. We all wouldn't be here without the involvement of everybody at UC2B from the beginning with Mike and thereon. It's nice to look out and see a lot of familiar faces. It's fitting that Brandon talked about the vision that UC2B had, because days like this begin with a vision. At iTV-3, it started with the Hoagland family, who own our company, and we had a vision back in 2009, and that vision was that Central Illinois was underrepresented in broadband. And we thought that if we could bring broadband to Central Illinois and get it into the hands of the capable people throughout Central Illinois, they'd be every bit as capable of competing in technology businesses as those in San Francisco and Boston and New York. So we set out on an endeavor, and our vision was, we knew that if we could start with the best technology, that nobody could beat that. And fiber optics is the best technology. So what we're putting in here today is world-class technology. It is fiber optics. It is ultimately capable of expanding. We can do 1 gig, we can do 10 gig when we need that, we can do 100 gig, we can keep on increasing it. But the real opportunity that we saw was customer service. Because whether it was cable companies or telephone companies, for many decades, there just was a lack of competition. And so people had kind of been forced to deal with their cable company or forced to deal with their telephone company. We thought if we could come in and bring a great piece of technology, that would be a good start. But the real win is if we could bring our retailing past and our vision for true customer service into the broadband and telecommunications and cable industries. And that's what we've strived to do since 2009. We've been very successful in the Peoria area. When Brandon reached out to us and we talked at first, it was like a meeting of the minds, you know, talking about competition and what it can mean for a community and what it could mean for the university, what it could mean for the people that live here to have this access to gigabit fiber. We've been doing business in Central Illinois for a very long time, since 1943. I think we've been in Champaign and Urbana since the 1980s with our family video brand. So it did not take long for us, I think approximately 10 minutes of conversation with Mike Smeltzer and I to get probably a little too excited and go, yeah, we got to do this. So today, it, you know, represents a new start. It represents the carrying on of that vision. I want to assure you that today wouldn't have happened without about a year's worth of feverish work behind the scenes. So it's nice to finally have the work that's going on in front of the community so you can start getting access to this gigabit service. And we can start showing you what we're all about. And you know, one of the things that I like to talk about is referrals. About 50% of our customers in the Peoria market are referrals of current customers. So it's important for us to get this neighborhood hooked up. We know that once people experience not just the service, but how we treat you. How we treat you is the most important thing. Things will go wrong. There will be problems. Your cable might go out. You might need some help with your internet from time to time. But what we really hope you see is that when you do have a problem, it's how you're treated that makes all the difference in the world. So we look forward to doing business for many, many years. This is the first neighborhood of 350 homes of about 40,000 that we're going to end up building here. I do encourage everybody to tell your friends, tell your neighbors, encourage people to go to theperfectupgrade.com and sign up. And thank you very much. We look forward to a long, long future here. Thank you.
So next we're going to hear from both mayors, including the new mayor of Champaign. First up is Laurel Pressing, the mayor of Urbana, who's really helped support this project since its infancy. Laurel?
Thank you very much, Brandon. Urbana got started on this in 2009, and it's largely due to Mike Smeltzer. And I went up to thank him, and he said he actually got started in 1998. So some of these things take a really long time. But I want to thank Brandon Bowersox-Johnson and Charlie Smythe, who served on this. And Bill Gray, our Public Works Director, is not here. And Peter Resnick. Pete Resnick is there, too. So we had great people representing Urbana. And this is a wonderful day. I hear that my neighborhood is one household short. Oh, well, as long as we get them all signed up. So this is the place that we should have the absolute modern technology, the University of Illinois, and all the breakthroughs that we've had from the wonderful scientists there. And this is an example of the unusual cooperation between the governments in this area. People from the outside are really astounded to see the level of cooperation that we have. And this is a wonderful example that we've been working on this, and now we're ready to get people started on the actual service. And I'm so happy that we chose a family-owned company from Illinois. This service has played well in Peoria, and I'm sure it's going to do very well in Urbana and Champaign. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce
Okay.
That'd be great.
It is my great pleasure to introduce the brand new mayor of the city of Champaign, Deb Finan.
I don't know if I can lower this without taking it down. I got it, I think. I know this is about iTV-3, but I also have to say that for me personally, this is an amazing experience to be here. Throughout my campaign, I talked about broadband. When people would say, what are you passionate about for the city of Champaign? I would say broadband. I had the pleasure of serving both as the chair and then vice chair while Brandon was chair of the UC2B committees, policy committee, and then I was on the not-for-profit board. This has been a long process, longer for Mike Smeltzer, but there are many people here who were involved. We have council members. Councilmember Bruno is here. Without the councils that were willing to support even going after the grant and accepting the grant, we would not be here today. I see lots of former policy committee and technical committee members. If you're out there, just raise your hand. So thank you. Because it was years of service to this community and your commitment and understanding that this infrastructure is the infrastructure for the future, and that our community, more than any other community in the nation, has to be ready with this technology to take on the world. And we certainly are ready to do that. I also want to say on a personal note that it's fitting that we're here at the house of Jenny Putman. Jenny and I served on the Champaign County Board together. She served on the Champaign County Board with my mom. And so to start here in this neighborhood with somebody who has such deep roots in our community, who has graciously opened their home to let us be here for this press conference is a great experience, and everybody should be really proud and excited. We're fine with it being an Urbana neighborhood, but for all of you in Champaign, please do go sign up. And if you live in my neighborhood, I want you on the internet today signing up, because I want this service. It will change the game economically for this community. It will change the game educationally for our community, and we are so happy that iTV-3 is here and committed to putting the fiber to each home in both communities. Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we'll have some comments from John Gant. He's from the University of Illinois and making remarks on their behalf. And John has been just another partner throughout this project, serving on the policy board, really shepherding the door-to-door effort when UC2B first built into neighborhoods. So without any further ado, John Gant.
Okay, thank you and good morning, and thank you, Brandon. Joining with the City of Champaign and City of Urbana, the University of Illinois is thrilled that our UCB partner iTV-3 has begun the installation process today. It's a very exciting day. As many of you know and have heard, and we'll hear from Mike later, who will give us the whole history, but UCB is an intergovernmental partnership between Urbana-Champaign and the university. And UCB was funded through the Recovery Act Broadband Technology Opportunity Program. iTV-3 is expanding the grant-funded part of the network to connect the rest of our community at gigabit speeds, and that's very exciting, with next-generation fiber optics to your home and business. iTV-3, as we heard, has been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, doing the network engineering and planning the construction process. I was, as Brandon mentioned, as part of the original grant project management team with Mike Smeltzer. And during that process, as many of you know, we learned a lot. We learned that building a broadband network is a complex, intensive construction process, a lot of technology and so forth. We learned that it's more than just the glass and the computers to provide the network, but it's also about people and relationships and the relationships with our community as well, too. Another thing we learned, just as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. For broadband, it takes a village and a sense of humor to build one of the first and fastest broadband networks in the country. We learned to laugh to keep from crying as we learned more about the webs of complex laws at the federal, state, and local level that we had to get through. At the same time, technology was changing just so fast as well. We learned that friends are important, and today is just a reflection of that, seeing everybody that's here. And we worked with visionaries locally and from around the country. And I'll just take a minute to note one in particular was Charles Benton. Charles was he's the head of the Benton Foundation, but he's also the chairperson for a Partnership for Connected Illinois, or Broadband Illinois. And he was a really big supporter of Illinois being the leader in the country around broadband deployment, and a real important visionary for UC2B as well. And he passed last Friday. We learned that our communities are amazing, the way that they've joined together to build this network. And with the cooperation between the three partners, the large team of folks that we worked with, creativity, imagination, that can-do attitude, and that Midwest friendliness and neighborliness, we really helped to achieve many firsts with UC2B. First, we deployed one of the first models in the United States, internet service delivery, that's really based on open access to foster private sector investment in a manner to support non-discrimination, interconnectivity, and local choice of internet providers. And we really found a great partner who also embraces that as well, too. Secondly, this is a process done with a lot of public participation and community involvement with all phases of planning, building, and governing the network. Third, we broke down barriers. Not many people really realize that with the grant-funded part of the network, that we actually connected. We did a lot to bridge the digital divide. And so let me hurry up here. So we, with signing up over 40% of the homes there that are eligible for our service. And then now, encouraged by the grant, we're one of the first BTOP grantees actually to have a private sector partner to move and expand the network. So yes, we're definitely thrilled that UCB is partnering with iTV-3. The iTV-3 has the engineering network, engineering ready to go, the construction details planned and approved, and is beginning the home installation process. Access to this broadband is very important to our community and very critical for what we're trying to do here in town. We'll hear more about economic development, but it is a key driver for our future in terms of economic development, both attracting new businesses and helping to grow our existing businesses. We're doing more to partner and share with other communities around the country about how do we leverage a gigabit, and the university is also doing a lot of research, part of USIG Ignite and others, to look at the future and how do we develop new applications to really address the important problems in our community. And there's one more thing that we learned, and it's the 4 H's. We learned that hugs, handshakes, high fives, and hallelujahs were the sweetest rewards from the families, community leaders, business owners, and churches who are connected to the internet for the first time as part of the original grant. It's been amazing to see people get connected and looking for jobs, going to school, being connected to their family, enjoying entertainment, and so forth. And we remain committed to trying to break down this digital divide with our Community Benefit Fund, and we're one of the first gigabit cities that's got a fund that really can be used to help people get access to computers, training, and so forth. So we look forward to the new possibilities, ideas, innovation, invention that is being created today with seeds of progress for making this expansion to our Urbana-Champaign community. So on behalf of the University of Illinois, I want to say thank you to our community for helping us build one of the first gigabit networks in our country. Thanks for the support and patience during our expansion. And we're really glad to make this a very special place to live. And lastly, we're excited about this expansion with ITV3 because it means that we're going to have more handshakes, hugs, high fives, and hallelujahs as more people get connected to the internet. Thanks.
Next is Celeste Choate, who is the executive director of the Urbana Free Library, one of the places that was connected in the original grant and got a big bandwidth upgrade. So welcome, Celeste.
Hi, thank you very much. Now, some people have said since the internet started that that's going to make public libraries go away and not need to exist anymore. And all these many years later, as you see public libraries thriving, we had 81,000 people use the public internet stations at the library last year. And I don't expect that we're going to see the numbers go down as we hook up with ITV3 in July. And we see that more people are able to more quickly utilize the resources in the library while we save money that we can use on other things for our community. And they're going to be able to more easily and more quickly at home access the resources we have used your tax dollars to pay for. For example, downloadable magazines or information we've curated from our community. We have over 700,000 items in our local history online database, including oral histories, which take up some bandwidth. So we're very excited at many levels that our communities will benefit in our libraries, as well as being able to, in the comfort of their homes, access library materials in ways they never have before it quickly. So we are thrilled for this to come.
Craig Rost is the executive director of the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation. Craig, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning. Thank you all for being here. Several of our board members are here. Tom Bruno, the mayors, sit on our board. We are really excited about this as a community-wide opportunity in economic development. The Champaign County Economic Development Corporation is county-wide. We are in the business of creating game changers, of promoting this fabulous place. Somebody started listing all the things that we're well known for, the LED, the air conditioning, by the way, and whipped cream in a can, in addition to, on and on and on, John Bardeen, it goes on forever. Our organization helped assemble a group of people around this idea of sending that message out. And one of the campaigns, or the campaign that evolved out of this community-wide effort involving the UBA, Chambers of Commerce, and a lot of other Visit Champaign County, other groups got together and said, how do we make sure the rest of the world knows about this place? Because it's one of the best kept secrets in the Midwest, maybe in the country. We shouldn't stand down to Austin or other places. What we need to do is say, we need to get the word out. So the You're Welcome campaign is evolving out of our organization and the support of the University of Illinois, significant financial support. Some big checks were written by companies that really want this to happen, and we want to make this effort to wire our community one of the landmark pieces of the You're Welcome campaign. And the tagline of You're Welcome is essentially, you're welcome for all the fabulous things that have come out of here, but it's also you're welcome to be here, come here, work here, live here, and appreciate what we have to offer. And so we're going to roll out the You're Welcome as a big part of this. We are a wired community. We can't be beholden to one company. Our competition is a big piece of what we have going here because we have qualified companies really sort of rocking it in this space. What we have to keep saying is you're welcome, and we are a wired community, and let the rest of the community, then the rest of the nation know that. So our organization is playing its part. Congratulations to ITV3. Thank you to the cities. There's a lot of vision involved and many years of wrangling and work on this to get to this point. So this is fantastic. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Craig, and you're welcome.
So are you, Brandon.
Thanks, yeah. And next is Mike Smeltzer, who is the principal investigator on the UC2B grant and the retired director of networking for the University of Illinois. Mike?
Thanks, Brandon. Also the unofficial photographer for UC2B, so you guys all get to be in the group photo. All right. This is going to be 20 years of history in 3 minutes, so hold on to your hard hats. For the last 20 years, this community has worked with various public or private partners to improve our local internet connectivity options. In the mid-1990s, the County Chamber of Commerce created CCNet, and the CCNet worked with Time Warner Cable on first-generation cable modems and also partnered with Ameritech on ISDN. In 1997, a local ISP called Servercom first proposed a community fiber network called CUNet 2000. It was only supposed to take 3 years, which is why the name, but obviously a little overly optimistic. From 1999 to 2005, the university worked with McLeod USA on providing fiber and DSL connectivity for privately certified housing in both Champaign and Urbana. McLeod USA invested $7 million in local fiber infrastructure during that time. In 2008, a national organization of major universities called EDUCAUSE commissioned a big broadband white paper, and that white paper proposed building fiber to every home and every business in the country. Their vision was a three-way funding split between the local governments, state governments, and the federal government. I saw one of the early presentations on that, and I didn't think we'd ever get money from the state of Illinois. I didn't think we'd ever get money from the federal government. So when I came back to town, I changed that to a three-way funding model with Champaign, Urbana, and the university. In January of 2009, the federal stimulus legislation included funding for community broadband projects. So what do I know? There it was. In February of 2009, the university hired consultant Joanne Hovis to help us understand the broadband opportunities that were in the stimulus bill. On that same day that President Obama signed the stimulus bill, Joanne Hovis was here in town at the iHotel talking to about 150 people about how we could leverage that stimulus bill to build a broadband project here. In July of 2009, the State of Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, announced matching funds for BTOP projects that we were putting together. So I guess I was wrong about state funding too. There's a repeating pattern you'll see here. In August of 2009, the UC2B Intergovernmental Consortium was formed to seek federal and state grant funding to build the UC2B network. On the behalf of the consortium, the university actually filed UC2B's grant application with DCEO and NTIA. In March of 2010, UC2B was awarded $22.5 million from NTIA and $3.5 million from DCEO. We also raised $3.4 million from local and private partners. The total of the project was $229.4 million. In July of 2010, we applied to Google Fiber. Brandon and I put together a kind of a quick application to see if Google was interested in coming in here and expanding our fiber network. They chose Kansas City. Oh well. In August of 2012, UC2B responded to an organization called Gigabit Squared, and Gigabit Squared was offering a similar deal to what Google had put forth. But at the same time, because we didn't want to have all of our eggs in one basket, UC2B also issued its own request for proposals for other private organizations that would be interested in coming to Champaign-Urbana and expanding the fiber network. At the same time, we introduced the concept of building fiber where people want fiber, where people are willing to sign up ahead of time, maybe put some money down, and that was an important part of that process. In 2013, Gigabit Squared kind of flamed out spectacularly, and UC2B re-released its private RFP several times, and we never really quite found a good fit. Then one fateful day in November of 2013, we were introduced to iTV-3. 6 months later, the public-private partnership with iTV-3 was announced, and for the last year, they've been working on getting us to where we are today. So this groundbreaking today is the beginning of the next chapter, but it's also an opportunity to reflect on what's already been accomplished. We all have great hopes for what's coming, but there's also a lot that's already happened. Through the two grants, UC2B connected 250 anchor institutions to fiber. UC2B grant funding connected more than 1,000 primarily low-income homes to UC2B fiber. At the same time, UC2B's private partners have been expanding the UC2B fiber network, and that increases its economic value to the community. Here are some of the numbers from those last couple of years. UC2B's private partners have connected 11 local cellular towers to UC2B fiber, thus enabling better cellular coverage and faster cellular data service for multiple national cellular providers. UC2B's private partners have built an additional fiber connections to 129 local buildings. Commercial buildings. Some of those buildings house multiple businesses, so the actual number of fiber-served businesses is actually greater than 129. 55 medical facilities now have or will soon have fiber connectivity between their local facilities or have regional fiber connectivity to their satellite facilities in Champaign County and in other surrounding counties. There are now 50 UC2B fiber locations that are served by multiple service providers. Somebody mentioned before that this is an open access network, and that's what that means. One fiber into your building, a shared connection that multiple providers can provide you services on. 50 buildings are already benefiting from that. And there are an additional 80 businesses that are on the drawing boards right now to have fiber brought into them this coming construction season. I guess we're in the current construction season. And finally, I'm the last thing standing between you guys and cookies. In response to having competition for the first time, and really in the first time in memory, the primary incumbent telephone and cable TV providers have not raised their service rates for more than 2 years. That has saved local customers an estimated $6 million. The same way that we all benefited from reduced gas prices, and that's been a boon to the economy, that $6 million has stayed in this economy and didn't go off to Texas or didn't go off to Pennsylvania, I believe. So even if you don't have iTV-3 or UC2B service today, the odds are good that you've already financially benefited from the fact that there's now competition in this market. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Brandon. Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have any shovels here today. The crew's actually already started construction a few blocks northeast of here, but we are going to have a ribbon cutting. So I'd like both mayors to come up. I think this is their first joint appearance, and we're going to put them to work.
1, 2, 3. Woohoo! All right, that was